Ep.9, Stan Lee and his fantastic, amazing friends. Stan Lee, author, writer, publisher, movie star, Marvel Universe co-creator. Stan was all of those, although it would be very deceptive to state that Stan created the Marvel Universe by himself. The undeniable fact is that without Stan, the Marvel Universe might never have happened at all. I'm a history fan. I love reading about the history of most things that interest me. The history of Marvel Comics is without a doubt linked to Stan for the sole reason that through it all, he was there, creating. I wanted to combine both the history and Marvel Comics in one display. Stan was going to be the central figure while I required action figures of some of the Marvel characters that best represent what Marvel history means to me. I wanted this history diorama to contain action figures from the comics I collected from the early days of Marvel up to the modern era. The characters, they didn't need to be co-created by Stan, but more of a tribute to the history of Marvel Comics instead. The only action in this diorama is Spider-Man taking a picture while hanging from a web. Otherwise, I wanted a natural scene, preferably on a street somewhere in New York City. A prerequisite for this scene was to make it appear as if it was simply Stan Lee surrounded by some friends posing for a photograph. From Vertigo Toys, I purchased a residential street diorama. This diorama also came with some accessories that I littered the ground with. The only other special effects used are the flame effects that came with the Torch action figures and some Marvel effects from Tamashii Nations. The collection of action figures represents the history of Marvel Comics from its beginnings in the 1940s until the comics of today. From the early days of Marvel Comics comes from Toy Biz, Namor. From Marvel Legends, Kazar and Zabu. For the Torch and the Human Torch, I purchased Marvel Select. I also used the Legends Human Torch figure to depict Toro, the Torch's sidekick. Kazar, Namor, and Torch appeared in Marvel Tales issue number 1 back in 1939. This comic is considered to be the first Marvel comic ever. Captain America is also from Marvel Select and made his first appearance in 1940. The 60s at Marvel really came down to two comics, the Fantastic Four and Spider-Man. Marvel Select action figures are used for the Thing, Mr. Fantastic, the Invisible Girl, or Woman, and the aforementioned Human Torch. Spidey is from Mafex. Mary Jane Watson is riding atop Zabu and is waving at Spidey while holding a copy of the Daily Bugle newspaper. The 70s are represented by the motorcyclists, Ghost Rider, and Punisher. Union Jack came from a team-based comic also from the 70s, titled The Invaders, that also starred Cap, Torch, Toro, and Namor. It was set during World War II and also featured Cap's sidekick, Bucky. The only action figure of Bucky available is in the Winter Soldier disguise from Cap's modern era comics. One of the distinct elements to Marvel that separate it from its competitors is the use of humor. Stan was instrumental in developing a writing style that was not only based on other human emotions like rage and frustration, but also humor. To represent that Marvel sense of humor, I included from Toy Biz an Impossible Man and Howard the Duck, attempting to hijack a fantastic car. Finally, there is Stan the Man himself from Marvel Legends. He is sitting on a bike that originally came with a Wolverine figure, but I was able to buy the bike separately on eBay. Unless an action figure of Bucky from World War II and an upgraded Namor are available, this diorama is all complete. I accomplished the design of this concept with the Vertigo Toys diorama, providing the scenery which adds that touch that was needed since I began. a touch I'm confident Stan would have agreed with.